As I get the opportunity to put the comments of a number of my constituents, comments, concerns, questions of my constituents on the record around this year's budget. I did table a letter earlier this week, I think, from a senior who was very concerned about the changes that were happening to the medical oxygen program. And I see that concern repeated a number of times. Every time the government changes the delivery of a program, just not to say they shouldn't change, they should. But there always seems to be that period of incredible instability and indecision and lack of information for vulnerable people. I've heard from a number of seniors with concerns about that. So I didn't get a chance in the health budget to say, why are you doing this? What is the point of changing this or looking to find a new contractor? Is it to save money? Is it to, share the opportunity for other local suppliers to get a contract? I don't know, but there's the question. I did get a chance in the culture debate to raise the huge concerns that are generated in the charitable, not-for-profit, communities under culture around the cancellation of the STEP program and the Community Spirit matching grant program. And I don't know how to quite describe this. For a number of years, the CFEP program has been oversubscribed, and often extra money was slipped that way. So this year, the forecast was, I think, supposed to be $45 million that was actually going to be spent, although the budgeted amount was $38. And so the budgeted amount for next year is $38. Well, essentially, that is a cut of $7 million. And I count that because, if you're not going to put that extra money in there, that's money that community doesn't have access to, and they need it. These are not communities that have a lot of cash lying around. This is a volunteer-based community. They're not-for-profits. Any money that they make, any surplus they have, goes back in to strengthening the services and programs that they provide. And the stretch is enormous. This is public service. So this runs the gamut from United Way and all of the services that they raise money for, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, youth-based organizations, the Youth Emergency Shelter in Edmonton, through all the poverty organizations and the shelters and the housing organizations, faith-based communities, disability communities, and I will talk specifically about one of them. So this was just an unbelievable money from frontline services. Talk about the Alberta Committee of Citizens with Disabilities. And again, they wrote to me. They've already had a funding cutback from the Harper Conservatives. And they've just been told basically that funding is going to be phased out for any disability assistance groups over 3 years. At least they gave them 3 years. But it's a 35% cut this year, a 65% cut, moving to 65% next year, and no funding. The last bit of funding would come in 15-16. So that's pretty devastating for groups that are trying to help people participate fully in the life of the province. And so what does the government do? Cuts the STEP program, cuts CFEP, or isn't going to go over on it, and eliminates the matching Community Spirit project. Yikes! Changing Together, which is a group that serves immigrant women, by immigrant women, for immigrant women, a really vital organization. And they're volunteer-based. And the thing about the whole volunteer community is that there is a disproportionate number of women that volunteer for these organizations and are also the recipients of these organizations. So making a cut into the not-for-profit charitable volunteer sector really has an effect on women's lives in this province. The point that Delaria, who is their executive director, was making to me was that, you know, they're criticized for, you know, how they manage their money, and yet the model actually creates the duplication that they're criticized for, because it keeps being offered as a project-based grant, and it's announced that it's all about youth this year or bullying this year. Well, everybody writes the grant doing the same, essentially the same work they're doing, but they target it now towards youth so that they can get some money to keep going and offer the services that they're offering. So yeah, you get duplication. Well, and she also makes the point about that I just made about the preponderance of women who are volunteers who keep these agencies going, but who are also recipients of the services. And she goes as far as to say, you know, isn't this an exploitation of labor or an exploitation of women? No, I don't think I would actually accuse this government of doing that, but it sure works in your favor, doesn't it?